When Wonder Woman debuted in 2017, it wasn't just a superhero origin story, it was a cinematic spectacle that blended ancient myth, war-torn history, and groundbreaking visual effects. But what we saw on screen was only the tip of the spear. Behind the scenes, a team of artists, technicians, and visionaries worked tirelessly to bring Princess Diana's world to life. Let's dive into the hidden world behind the camera and explore how reality and digital wizardry combined to create the cinematic magic. When Steve Trevor brings Diana from the mystical island of Themyscira to London, it marks her first encounter with the modern world. But in truth, the London you see on screen is largely a digital illusion. The fog, the chaos, the massive ships docked at the harbor, it's all overwhelming for Diana, and it's all an illusion. That entire port sequence, right from the towering ship to the bustling bridge, was almost entirely constructed using CGI. Most of the physical structures we see were never actually built. Instead, actors performed in front of large green screens while the digital artists crafted a historically accurate London right behind them. Even the old steam train we see chugging by, completely computer generated. The film's VFX team used 3D modeling and reference footage from old British rail systems to design it digitally. To make the crowds feel fuller and more authentic, the team didn't gather hundreds of extras. Instead, they digitally multiplied a few soldier models to make it look like a crowded scene. But the magic doesn't stop there. In the wide aerial overview shots of the city, where we see smoke-filled rooftops and a fog-filled skyline, not a single brick is real. Furthermore, the overview shots showing the full expanse of London were created entirely using CGI, with the smog and fog in the overviews being digitally rendered to add realism. Only the actors were real, carefully filmed on a green screen, and then seamlessly composited into this computer-generated cityscape. One of the most unforgettable moments in the movie is when Diana steps into no man's land, defying every warning and charging toward enemy lines. It's a powerful, goosebumps-inducing sequence, but there's a lot more going behind the camera than meets the eye. For starters, Diana's sword and glowing lasso of truth weren't always real props. In most of these intense close-up shots, both the sword and the rope were added using CGI. As for the bullet impacts, explosions, and fiery blasts hitting the ground near soldiers, those weren't real either. The filmmakers used carefully placed squibs and computer-generated effects to stimulate the chaos of war, ensuring safety while making it feel dangerously real on screen. This scene captures a high-stakes moment where Steve Trevor steals Dr. Poison's secret diary from a hidden German lab. After the theft, he makes a dramatic escape by flying off in an old-fashioned biplane. However, believe it or not, much of this was shot on a backlot at England's Leavesden Studios, where the crew recreated an entire World War I era military airfield. The props team built vintage gas tanks, dusty equipment, and even realistic old biplanes. The biplane that Steve climbs into? That was a real full-size model constructed for the team. The scenes where he enters the cockpit and starts the engine were shot practically. However, when the plane takes off and begins soaring through the skies, that's when CGI takes over. These flight shots were digitally animated to replicate the look and feel of a real World War I aircraft in motion, with special attention paid to historical accuracy. And when Steve causes an explosion at the enemy base, that entire blast sequence was created with digital fire and destruction layered into the scene during post-production. In the film, Wonder Woman's final fight scenes, including the airborne plane carrying deadly gas canisters, nearly everything was built through visual effects. The plane, its cargo, and the distant backgrounds were all rendered digitally. Meanwhile, the actors performed in studio environments with minimal props. The explosions, fire, and environmental destruction were added later frame by frame to create high-intensity action. Additionally, some portions of the Amazonian warrior sequence were filmed using blue screens. These setups allowed the filmmakers to later enhance the background digitally, extending the horizon, adjusting lighting, and adding architectural elements that completed the grand Themyscira setting. The use of blue screen combined with practical effects struck the perfect balance between realism and fantasy, adding depth and dimension to the final cut. The moment when German soldiers invade the shores of Themyscira is a turning point in the story, and the BTS reveals just how epic this beach battle really was. When German soldiers first land on Themyscira, we witness an intense battle between modern weaponry and ancient Amazonian might. This scene was shot on a real location, and yes, those actresses were riding real horses during filming. The weapons, though visually fierce, were actually made of foam, rubber, or lightweight plastic. Close-up props had metal finishes, but remained safe for actors to handle. Some real pyrotechnics and fire were used to enhance the authenticity, combined with practical props like stone structures and minimal set dressing. This scene takes place when the Amazons capture Steve and bind him in the glowing lasso of truth before taking him to their base. The lasso used in the film wasn't just any rope, it was specially designed with embedded lights to give it that magical glow on camera. To shoot this moment, the filmmakers created a medium-sized practical set enhanced with green screens. This allowed them to combine real props with digital background extensions seamlessly. What truly brought the scene to life was the actresses' authentic performances. Their reactions to Steve's capture felt so real that the entire moment became believable and intense. This behind-the-scenes moment covers the pivotal scene where Diana decides to leave Themyscira and travel to the world of man with Steve, believing it's her duty to save humanity. She returns to the sacred chamber to claim the God-Killer sword, a weapon crafted by Zeus himself. While Gal Gadot's performance is powerful, what's equally impressive is the clever use of camera angles to highlight the sword's mythical importance. Instead of relying entirely on green screen and CGI, the filmmakers built a minimalistic set with carefully placed props to ground the scene in reality. With subtle lighting and precise cinematography, the moment became both emotionally impactful and visually striking. This scene showcases Diana's iconic charge into a war-torn European village where she battles German soldiers to save civilians. The action was shot in a real European village, enhanced with green screen backdrops to allow for digital extensions like damaged buildings and smoke-filled skies. To make the scene feel truly authentic, the team used real explosions, fire effects, and crumbling practical structures. Actors performed amidst dust, mud, and debris, creating the illusion that they were in an active war zone. Combined with the intense choreography and Gal's fearless presence, this scene became one of the film's most memorable and cinematic moments. This sequence features Diana's intense confrontation with General Erich Ludendorff, where she finally strikes him down with her sword. To film this moment, the crew built a detailed interior set for the general's chambers, surrounded by green screens for visual enhancement. For Diana's flying and attack shots, Gal Gadot was attached to a harness rig that allowed her to soar through the air as she leapt toward Ludendorff. Choreography and timing had to be perfect to sync her wire movements with the VFX that would be added later, like slow-motion sparks, energy pulses, and visual dramatization of the final blow. This BTS clip takes us behind the filming of the powerful No Man's Land scene, one of the most iconic moments in Wonder Woman 2017. It's the moment where Diana, with her shield in hand, fearlessly crosses the battlefield under heavy fire. To bring this epic sequence to life, the crew built a custom set with muddy trenches and barbed wire, capturing the brutal reality of World War I combat. Green screens were strategically placed in the background so that visual effects artists could later expand the world into a full-scale war zone, adding depth and destruction through CGI. The raw determination on Gal Gadot's face, combined with the set design and effects, made the scene unforgettable. Every element, from the stunts to the cinematography, worked together to elevate the intensity of the scene. And that's gonna do it for today's video. By the way, what do you think about this movie and our behind the scenes video, and what was your favorite BTS moment from the movie? Let us know in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed our video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more exclusive content on your favorite movies and series. See you in the next one, and bye for now.